maybe if you don't want to talk, you could just listen.
I just walk around. I want to be swept off my feet, you know? I am prepared for amazing things to happen. I can handle it.
Alright gang, what is happening? I am Mal Foster and you are listening or perhaps even watching the latest episode of your third favourite above average but infinitely curious podcast, Dimed Out. It is the last episode in terms of me going through HSCT treatment. It is a compilation of updates I made during my time. Right now, I am back at home and really happy to be here. Been back home for about 2 weeks. I'll kind of get into that next week a little bit more as I wrap up this season. Next week is going to be the last episode for this season because I need to just let this go for the time being, rest, recover, and adapt to my new normal. But again, we'll kind of get into that a little bit next week. This episode, as I mentioned, is a collection of updates. It's going through my stem cell birthday, it's going through the aftermath of that, and just the wind down to the end of my time in Puebla. So, yeah, quite the journey I've been on, and it's been a pleasure to have you come along for the ride with me. And we'll kind of get into that in a little bit, in a somewhat emotional stretch towards the back end of the episode. In this episode, I'm also going to be featuring some music that I made during my time away, whilst in Puebla, going through the treatments, going through the chemo, all the other bits and pieces, and the downtime in neutropenia. I was able to just chip away at stuff, work away casually at things without any real intention, just play, basically, and be creative without an incentive, without a target, without a thing that I was working on. And not having that pressure on me, I was able to create quite a few things. Did some doodles, and more importantly, made some music, tinkering about with loops, drum patterns, samples, chopping things up. Yeah, just tinkering and fiddling and farting about with music. So I thought I would include some of the stuff that I've made during my time in Puebla in this episode as transitional pieces. If you like what you hear, I'm going to include a full song at the end, by the way. If you like what you hear, you can find the little EP that I put together from the music I made during my time in Puebla. You can find that over at iammalfoster.bandcamp.com. And if you want to purchase that, then yeah, feel free. I'm not going to stop you. But with that in mind, that's pretty much it. Housekeeping done. Next week, season finale. For now, back to Puebla. Right now, it is day plus 2. 2 days since my stem cell birthday / second birthday. 2 days since 110 million healthy cells were pumped back into my system, where they're currently now multiplying and doing their magic. But before I go any further into that, I'm going to dial it back a touch to day -1, last round of chemo, and it went about as smooth, if not smoother, than the previous ones. No weird taste in my mouth, no nausea, no pain, no side effects whatsoever, both during and after. And in regards to the latter, a huge assist has to be given to the routine meds that I've been on. One of those tablets is a anti-nausea pill, and it works a treat. So, all good stuff. And of course, the fact that it had wiped the slate clean and let me have a green light for day 0 is all good stuff as well. Day 0 arrives. It is the point that we've been working towards, that we've been moving towards on this journey. It is the end of that particular journey. And a big day with a lot of feelings and mixed emotions. In terms of practicality, the sort of treatment itself is the simplest and shortest of the lot. It is literally the bag of blood with your cells harvested hanging up on a little pole, tube from the bag, tube goes into the port, cells into your system. Welcome home, lads. Nice to have you back. 20 to 30 minutes, tops. And yeah, no side effects, no weird feelings. I did have a strange thing happen to me, which I did have to ask, is this normal? And that is a bit of a hallucination. And by a bit of, I mean an actual hallucination. During the process, with the cells going through the tube into the port, into the system, started to see through the window that looked outside to the landscape of office buildings and such, a bunch of what I can only describe as like translucent beads and bubbles. Things that kind of looked like cells. Some of them had little sort of black nuclei in them. Some of them were just tiny little translucent pebbles, all moving in various directions at different speeds. Some of them kind of showered down in little clusters. Some of them zipped in individual format, like shooting stars. And some of them just came down like rain. And I was like, this is weird. And at first I thought maybe it's the light refracting through a dirty window or the sort of color scheme in the room. I don't know. I looked away from the window, over to the wall, and then gradually, one by one, I saw little cells, little bubbles, just kind of appearing and drifting on the wall. And I was like, this is odd. So I asked the doctor, have you ever heard of someone having a hallucination during this process? The process I'm currently having now. And he was like, no, not because of this, but it's because of the steroids that you're on. So, in that routine batch of meds that I've been on, there is evidently a steroid, and that was it. Going to town with my brain or eyes, I don't know. It wasn't unpleasant. It was really nice, actually. If anything, it was kind of poetic and apropos that during my time here, I've been learning to sit with the balance of being busy, of moving slow, and just sitting with stillness. So the fact that I had all of these little translucent bubbles moving at different speeds and at different directions was really kind of appropriate, to me at least. Outside of that, nothing unusual. I mean, that's unusual enough as it is, but no side effects, no distress, no ill feeling, physiologically or otherwise. The feelings that I had afterwards, I had a multitude of them. Joy, relief, hope, excitement, just a sense of being overwhelmed. So many different things, all good, positive emotions, and all emotions I can't really get a grasp on and describe. But yeah, it was a day, and I still don't know what to make of it. I'm still kind of processing it, to be honest. Still kind of processing it. That moves us on to day +1, which was yesterday, and I was just dog tired. I had zero energy. I just wanted to sleep and sleep and sleep and sleep. And so I did. I just rested and I slept and I napped and I dozed and I just lounged about, and it was great. Today I have more energy, hence why I'm doing this today, and I still feel tired a little bit, but nowhere near as much as yesterday. I am sleeping a lot better now, so that's great. Got about a solid 9 hours last night, not to brag, and feel more refreshed for it. Kind of felt more myself this morning than yesterday, but I'm just going to take it day by day, because tomorrow I might feel dog tired. I might feel like I did this morning. I don't know. We'll see when morning comes and we'll just go with it. And outside of that, I've had a blood sample taken. They've ran it through their analysis, and at the minute I have a cell count of 700. I am currently in neutropenia, which means I am very vulnerable to infection, so we are locked down, as it were. Get 15-20 minutes up on the rooftop garden, bit of fresh air, and then just looking after yourself, rest and recovery, as it were. And that's about it, really. I'm just doing me at the minute, and I probably won't do another update for at least a few days because truly I'm just bumming about, watching movies, writing, listening to music, doing crosswords, colouring, reading, resting, napping, all of that good stuff. And just rolling with the punches, as it were, and just seeing what happens when it happens. It is currently day plus 8. Yeah, day plus 8. And it is just over a week since my stem cell birthday, and I've been in neutropenia all that time, which means my outside time's been limited to about 20 minutes. But it's better than nothing. Bit of fresh air, stretching my legs. Right now, I'm coming to you with a look that I can only describe as speckled, as my hair is increasingly trying to run away from my face and head. I will take speckled, though, because a couple of days ago I was in my splotchy stage, and it was extremely sporadic. Now it's beginning to even out, so we're getting there, gradually. Outside of the follicle challenges I face and have been facing, this last week has been mostly good. Day plus 6, probably one of the worst days I've had. And even then, I can't really say it was bad. I was just really tired, low energy, lethargic, a little bit nauseous, and had a bit of a headache in the morning. But medication helped to take care of that. And a just lazy day full of naps and doing nout helped with the tiredness. So, really can't complain whatsoever. Over the last week, I have been, whilst in neutropenia, receiving shots to stimulate my white blood cells, and every 48 hours they've been taking blood, sending it off for analysis, and then having consultations with me. So the first round of all of that, I had a count of 700 white blood cells. The second round, 48 hours later, that dropped to 200. 48 hours after that, it dropped to 100. This is all regular, by the way. I should say, like, I'm not nosediving. This is par for the course. It's the natural projection, apparently, according to the doctors. And who am I to even question them on that? But I've been reassured by a couple of people that it's perfectly normal for you to drop and then you spike straight up. So 700, 200, 100, back up to 200 today. And my consultation for today was great. They told me I'm well on my way to basically hitting the 4,000 mark of safety on Wednesday. Sorry, I forget what day of the week it is sometimes. But it's Wednesday that I'll have my next blood sample analysis and consultation, and they are expecting me to hit 4,000 blood cells, white blood cells, on Wednesday. The healthy range, the sort of safe range rather than healthy, I guess, is 4,000 to 12,000, I think is the ceiling on that, but 4,000 is the basement. So once you hit 4,000, you're out of neutropenia, and I can have, more than my 20 minutes up on the roof. But more than that, I am out of danger of, immediate danger of infection for the next 6 months and beyond. I want to avoid any kind of infection, but whilst in neutropenia, you are at your most vulnerable. Outside of being predicted to hit 4,000 on Wednesday, I was told that according to other results and statistics, of which, I don't really fully understand because, again, not medically minded, but they rested me assure, if that's even a way of saying that basically my bone marrow is reacting the way that they want it to, in a really positive way. Certain levels have gone up in other areas, and it's pretty much a guarantee that the transplant is working. It's taking effect. So, yeah, a little bit disappointed to not be at 4,000 white blood cells today, but man, that pales in comparison to the absolute joy of hearing that this whole thing has been successful. I've got to be careful over the next 6 months. I've got to take my precautions, got to be vigilant. But man, to hear that and to hear how positively affirming the doctor was with that news, you can't buy that feeling. For real, you cannot. Yeah, just amazing. So that's about it, really. Neutropenia, blood cell counts, that fantastic news. Being inside all the time hasn't been difficult because the Euros have started, so we've been watching plenty of football. I've been writing, I've been watching this, that, and the other, and just relaxing and recovering and just all of that good stuff. So yeah, plenty to keep me going. It's never like I'm bored. And I'm just excited. I'm excited for Wednesday to come. Excited to hit that 4,000 mark, and I'm excited to head back home and start the next part of the journey. But yeah, that's about it really at the minute. I'll give another update once I hit my 4,000 and amount of neutropenia, and that will probably be the penultimate one, because I'll do a kind of wrap up, I guess, before I actually leave on Saturday, which is mind-boggling to think that it's come so quickly, but here we are. Anyway, thank you for watching, as always. I hope this has been informative for you, I guess. Yeah, I'm just kind of buzzing today. It's been a good day, and I hope that it is the same for you.
Without struggle, there is no progress, you know what I mean?
It is day plus 12 here at Clinica Ruiz, also known as my last day here at Clinica Ruiz, for which I am so happy and so very super excited about. I'm going to get into that in just a minute, but let's get some practical stuff out of the way. Day plus 10, 2 days ago, day plus perfect 10, as it turned out to be. Go through the regular rhythms that have been over the last week or so of neutropenia, blood sample, analysis, consultation. Or so I thought that was how the pattern was going to go. Blood sample was taken, easiest blood sample I've ever had taken, not just here, but period, which was a blessing considering the amount of bruises I have began to collect on my arms and on the back of my hand because of how difficult it is apparently to get blood from me. This nurse found the vein, got the blood, first time, in and out, bish bash bosh, job done, and I was delighted about that for obvious reasons. Blood sample gets sent off, goes to its analysis, and as I said, I was expecting to have a consultation at 12 to be like, here's what your newts are doing, here's where your white blood cell count is, and then, with the hope that I had reached 4,000. So just in that mindset of just waiting for 12 o'clock to roll around, watching the Germany-Hungary game, because the Euros are in full flow now. About 10:30, get a message saying, Malcolm and a bunch of other people, please meet us down in the lobby in 10 minutes because you're going for your rituximab infusion. And I'm like, wow, okay, I'll take it, but was not expecting that. So frantically pack a bag because it's going to be a 3-hour procedure, and then head down into the lobby to await the van to pick us up and take us over there. Total surprise, but the best kind of surprise. I found out, by the way, if you're wondering if you're keeping up the score with my newts and my white blood cell count, it was previously at 100. That blood sample came back with a white blood cell count of 7,200. So they weren't kidding when they say it's going to just shoot up like a rocket. That thing spiked through the 4,000 basement and into close about the mid-range of the sort of safe zone, as it were. So, yeah, very surprising that it just happened like that real quick, but also very surprising that it was that high. I was kind of half expecting to sort of eke over the 4,000 line, maybe 4,300, something like that, just about qualify. But yeah, I'll take those numbers, and they're obviously only going to go up gradually and naturally through time. So yeah, go Newts, Newt power. So downstairs in the lobby, wait for the minibus, get in the minibus, go to the clinic, get the IV stuck in you, get the pre-medication to help with any side effects, which were more allergy-based side effects rather than nausea or pain, which you would get with the chemo, and then the rituximab itself. And the infusion lasts about 3 hours. And it was actually, weirdly enough, the most unpleasant out of all of the infusions and treatments, mainly because I was in front of an AC and my left arm was getting cold, and I was just hit with this profound wall of tiredness. Tiredness where you're too restless to even nap and you have zero focus or concentration. Pablo, my caregiver, brought his laptop so we could watch the second half of the Germany game, but I am not watching ball movement, I'm not watching off the ball plays, I'm not watching or observing or paying attention to anything. I'm just basically seeing shapes move. I mean, like human shapes. I'm not like seeing rectangles and triangles. I'm not having more hallucinations, but I'm just not following the game whatsoever because my focus is gone and I'm just real tetchy and irritable. And whereas 5 hours of chemo was fine, 3 hours of this is just like, oh, I just want this to be over with. But yeah, afterwards, like a washing machine of emotions, all good emotions again, no negative emotions, all just like joy, relief, gratitude, elation, surprise, all good emotions, but tumbling around in my beautiful bald head like a washing machine and not knowing which to grasp onto until I get back in the minibus. I get on the minibus and I get my seat and I find that the radio on the minibus is playing, and the song that comes on the radio is Stand By Me by Benny King. And I've always loved that song. Beautiful piece of music, fantastic string arrangement, fantastic vocal performance, beautiful melody. But it's never hit like the way it hit getting onto that minibus. It just rolled into me like a tidal wave of emotion, and I just found myself completely overwhelmed. For that song to be playing at that moment, I finished the infusion, I finished the last step of my treatment, I finished with this journey, and for that song to kick in, it was like genuinely like the rug was pulled out from under my feet, because my brain is going to people, the people that have stood by me. I'm getting a bit wound up thinking about it now. I think of my amazing wife, who from the very first visit to the hospital, to the diagnosis, to the end of this treatment, has been with me every single step of this journey, who has been an amazing source of comfort and support, who has been my rock, who I don't know if I could have done this without her. And I'm thinking of her, and I'm thinking of how much this has done for us, not just for me, but for us, for the better quality of life that we have because of this. I'm thinking of my mum, who has been a rock in her own right throughout my entire life, but during this period has been such an amazing source of comfort and light and love, who's given me the space I've needed to deal with this, to process this, to go through this. But she's been there whenever I've needed. She's reached out to me. She's been in touch. She's been there for me. She's been amazing. And I think of how difficult it must have been for her, being so far away, not being able to be there physically for me going through this. To feel powerless, and to just trust in the system, and to trust in my ability to deal with this, and to put full confidence in me and my ability to deal with this. I'm thinking of that. I'm thinking of just the abundance of support that has come from so many people, from my octopi of support. It was kind of overwhelming before getting here, but having it just continue through simple social media likes, through comments, through text messages, through voice notes, through emails, through FaceTimes, just so many little bits that add up from so many different people. It's overwhelming in the best possible way. And this is kind of the crux of this video update before I just derail by getting too emotional about it. I am done. Like, the medical side of this journey is done, and there's nothing really more to report on that. So I just want to kind of give people their flowers and let you watching this know how much you have made an impact on me during this, how much you've helped, how much you have provided the rocket fuel, the yarn to tie all of this together and to propel me forward into a better life. It's overwhelming because for almost 40 years I've lived on this planet, and in a lot of that time I've not liked who I am for various reasons. But to see so many people kind of step up, show up and show out for me and rally behind me and just fill me with love, it's shown me a lot. And one of those things is that I'm not a bad person, and that it's been a truly welcome reminder that I'm deserving of a lot of things, good things. Otherwise people wouldn't care so much. So that's what you have done collectively, is as the individuals that you know you are, and as collectively a group that has got behind me during this. You've not just helped me through this, you've helped me realize that I'm inherently a good person, and that I am loved, and that I do in fact love myself. Not in a egotistical way, but in a I like who I am kind of way. I like who I am a lot, and other people do. And I don't show myself that as much. So when people step up and do show me that, it's amazing, and it's I don't know what else to say about it. I'm struggling with the words. I just want to know. I want you to know, rather, how much on a truly deep level I appreciate that. This has been an amazing experience. I have got through this well. I think I have had a good attitude. I have responded well medically to all of that stuff, but I've responded well emotionally and mentally as well. But a huge part of that is because I've had the octopi of support, and I have allowed myself to absorb it instead of pushing it away, instead of just naturally rejecting it. I have drawn it in, I've soaked it in, and I want to kind of reflect that back. That is very important to me, for you to know how much that has empowered me and had such an effect. So truly, from the bottom of my heart, in this very lengthy video update, thank you. I also want to say thank you to Pablo, my caregiver, who has made this so much easier than it has had any right to be. He's been an excellent caregiver. He's been a new friend that I've made, which doesn't happen very often, so that's an extra added bonus of my stay. And he's just been a joy to spend time with. He has truly made this so much easier. So, yeah. We've had our moment. I've gave him his flowers in person. He knows how much he's meant to me during this, and how much he's made this more durable and enjoyable at times. Because I'm taking a lot of happy memories home with me from this, which is something I didn't really expect to say at the end of it. But he's been a big part of that. So he's gone. He left yesterday, so I'm here by myself, which is a bit surreal and strange and a touch melancholic, but I'm more balanced out by the excitement of going home. I'm ready to go home. I'm ready to finish this journey and move on to the next. And yeah, I've given everyone their thank you notes, etc. I'm giving them their flowers, as it were, here. The staff here have been amazing. And I would also say, just before I go, that if you know anybody with MS that is considering HSCT or even isn't considering HSCT as an option, I truly cannot recommend this enough, not just as a treatment, but this place as a facility. Everything from top to bottom runs like clockwork. It is so proficient, it is so professional. I have been looked after and cared for and made comfortable throughout the entirety of my stay, and I could not have asked for a better experience. So yeah, like a glowing review and recommendation for Clinica Ruiz in Puebla. This place is beyond amazing. So yeah, if you do know someone that is considering it or even hasn't considered it but would like to talk to me about it more in depth to kind of pick my brains and get deeper into my experience, please feel free to send them my way and I will willingly talk the hind legs off them about why this is the place to come. Other than that, I think I'm about done. The only things I've got left to do now before I leave tomorrow morning is to pack my bags, have a good breakfast, and cue the music.
Because the future is a concept. It doesn't exist. Tomorrow never comes. There is no such thing as tomorrow. There never will be. Because time is always now. And that's one of the things we discover when we stop talking to ourselves and stop thinking. We find there is only a present, only an eternal